Hey everybody, Harry here to talk about the motion for sanctions against lawyers for Donald Trump, children of Donald Trump, and Donald Trump for inadequate responses and outright false responses in the big civil fraud lawsuit that Attorney General Tisch James has launched against Trump last year. Remember this one? We sometimes think first about the criminal potential cases going on, but none of them has actually dropped yet. Whereas Tisch James's $250 million lawsuit against Trump personally and the kids and the organization has already inflicted major hurt. All right. They today file a motion with the court asking for a hearing based on a set of responses that last week Trump and the kids, the defendants, filed in discovery, which I think you basically know are just discovery is a required series of honest, truthful answers to questions propounded by the other side. That's a really big part of civil litigation. So she propounded these questions, and Trump team responded last week, and guess what? They were just the same old stuff from the Trump playbook. This is what's pretty interesting to me, is the things that Trump has been doing kind of forever. He is not a very imaginative man, but he's a shameless and incorrigible litigator, and so he pulls the same old crap. And the motion here goes to him and his kids. That's a new technique. Just last week, he and his lawyers were sanctioned about $1 million in another case for putting Hillary Clinton and her team through ridiculous, meritless skirmishes in the legal system. So same thing here. Tisch James files a 5-page motion asking, we want a hearing, and we want you to strike certain things, the kinds of things you would do for bad discovery responses, but also because he's a repeat player and he's not learning his lesson, we want you to sanction him. What sorts of things? Some very obvious false statements where, Trump refuses to acknowledge his role. Just obstreperous, stupid, completely difficult litigation stuff, but it adds up to some lies. It adds up to protestations of ignorance by the Trump folks of stuff they know. Trump won't say. He doesn't know if it's a Delaware LLC corporation. The complaint that he filed says it's a Delaware LLC corporation, and the law says you have to, arm yourself with adequate knowledge before answering these things. Also, he, a tried and true Trump technique, continues to offer so-called affirmative defenses that the court already has rejected. You can't do that. So Tisch James comes in and says, we want you to clean up this bad discovery stuff as you would, but we also want you to sanction, go for the pocketbook of Trump and his kids. And remember, the sort of daggers pointed at the kids are a big part of this whole lawsuit and why it's threatening. There have been friends of Trump. Some of them say, he won't care. He'll let him drown. Others say he will really care, but it's hitting them personally. And it's for the exact same kind of conduct that we've seen in the political marketplace, but also the courts for many years, and they just think they can do and get away with. And they could and get away with, but it's happened so much that courts seem to be at the end of their rope. So we'll see what happens. There's going to be a hearing. It wouldn't be unusual in this kind of setting for the judge to actually make the corrections to discovery or order them to do it and then give them a stern talking to, but not impose sanctions. But they're repeat offenders and incorrigible, and anyone who's been litigating with them for a year, as this judge has done, might have come to the end of his rope. So it would be an unusual move to sanction not just a lawyer, but the litigants here, but it would really be a show that this judge has had it. More generally, remember, this is just moving toward a big showdown where, among other things, all kinds of evidence is going to be admissible, including if he or the kids have ever taken the fifth. And this really poses a threat, not just of a huge possible verdict against him, but of actual loss, formal loss of control, basically putting the company into receivership. So that's the broader stakes of this lawsuit. And the more immediate issue is another time in which the courts are at the end of their rope against Donald Trump and including his kids. And there will now be a hearing where I think the lawyers won't have a leg to stand on about their faulty responses. And they'll be saying, oh, but come on, Judge, give us a break, don't impose sanctions. We'll see what happens there. It could be a pretty big blow against Trump and a general indication that this civil suit by the New York Attorney General is really a sword hanging over not just his head, but the heads of his kids. Until then, talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.